Here are the moments I think you should know about from episode 40 of Beyond the Gates. My two favorite scenes today involved Eva and Haley. So Eva is at home talking to her mom, Dana, Leslie, Sherry, Lulu, and Anna. And her mom is going on about dropping the bombshell at the anniversary party. And if you've been following me for quite some time, you know Eva, or I believe, which is obvious, Eva does not want to do this. She does not want to ruin the relationship she has built with Ted and Nicole, and truly the entire Richardson Dupree family except Kat. And she keeps on telling her mom, whenever you drop this news, it's not gonna matter who I am because they're gonna look at me like I'm crazy and like you were working here all the time knowing this was going to happen. So her mom is upset with her, and I think I've said this before. It's a very manipulative relationship, mother and daughter, that we have going on, but such good scenes from Eva and Dana. The actresses are just excellent. Like, if you don't follow them already, you should. I'll tag them in this video. So Dana sends Eva out to her car to get something, saying she's not dressed appropriately to go out. And she goes through her phone, which, why does your mom know your unlock code for your phone, first off? And then she realizes that Eva is not going to meet with the cake vendor for the party, but Eva's actually going to the country club to meet. That's my cat, if you heard him, Apollo. Eva is actually going to the country club to meet up with Nicole. So what does Dana do? She shows up in her Sherry outfit to apply for a job to work at the country club. Of course, Eva is there with Ted and Nicole. And she runs out to get sticky notes and goes up to the counter. And then that's whenever she sees her mom. She pulls her aside and says, like, what are you doing here? You have to leave right now. Well, of course, she pulls her aside and leaves the phone on top of the counter. She leaves. Ted and Nicole come out just in time to miss Dana. And they're like, you look like you've seen a ghost. Like, what's going on? And she plays it off and says, oh, they didn't have Post-it notes, whatever. Ted wants her to stick around, but he wants Nicole to wait on him, so she does. And of course, that's whenever we get the meeting with Sherry and Nicole. And a few months before Beyond the Gates premiered, one of the producers, I think it was Sheila, she was talking about how at the end of April, there's going to be a big bombshell with Nicole.
A few months down the line, you're going to see some crazy stuff happening in my world.
Definitely. And I'll say this too, that mark your calendars, because I know that you all will be watching every day, right? Monday through Friday? Okay. So when we get towards the end of April, wait until you see.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. There's stuff happening all the time, but wait until we get there.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's a tease. That's what we call a tease.
Yeah. I was like, we were all watching this on the feed or down in the control room, and our stomachs were churning, like literally. It's a big one.
Wow.
So watch.
Okay.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here and say Nicole knows that Ted cheated on her and has put the pieces together on who Dana is or who Sherry is, and perhaps who Eva is. And maybe she is willing to hear out Eva because maybe she thinks Eva doesn't know what's going on. But I think that's the bombshell. So you heard it here first. I think the bombshell that's going to happen at the end of this month that was promised by Sheila is Nicole knows that Ted cheated on her and knows that it's Sherry. TBD if that happens. We thought that at the party that they held for Nicole, for the award, that Sherry was going to say something, and she was quickly ushered out, not because of Ted, but by Eva. She mentioned that the manager who got rid of her during that scene, he was fired, and she hinted that it was her fault, which I kind of like that. I saw some older actress talk about how every time she has sought revenge, it's felt so good. And well, we're going to move on because I, in my personal life, I don't think I've ever sought revenge, but it does feel good just to know someone who thought they were doing you wrong is actually done wrong by you. And even if they don't know. So we will see how this ends out, but clearly I've spent the last 4 minutes talking about this. So it was my favorite scene today. And then I really liked how Haley listened as Bill was telling Tomas, hey, I want you to sit on this advisory council with these 3 women who are coming back, who I settled with, and I want you to report everything to me. I want you to be my inside guy, even though part of the settlement was he would not know what was going on with that advisory board. So Haley overhears this. Of course, Tomas wants to make partner, so he's willing to do this. Even though I feel like he's not for it, he just knows this is what he has to do. And this is what so many people do in corporate America. They bend their values and morals to get ahead. It's capitalism. Here we are. But Haley overhears this and she brings it up to Bill and is like, I want our child, if I am pregnant, which, girl, take a pregnancy test. Like, I feel like they're accurate. If you know you've missed your period, you're at least a month behind. And at 6 weeks, pregnancy tests should work. Don't trust me on that. I'm not a doctor, but I have a lot of friends who've gotten pregnant and they take pregnancy tests whenever they think they're pregnant. But anyway, Haley needs to take a pregnancy test to know that if she's really pregnant or not. But she said there's a chance, 50-50 chance, the kid could be a daughter, a girl, and she wants her to grow up in a place where she can work and feel trusted and protected and all that good stuff. Of course, Bill plays it off and says, I just have to know what's going on all the time. And she says, yeah, you didn't know what was going on with Mike because you were falling in love with me, which, whatever. Anyway, I really enjoy seeing a different side of Haley, one where she pushes back on Bill. And I hope to see more of that as her character develops, perhaps reconnecting with her old friend group, which included Naomi and Jacob and Ashley and Derek, which her and Derek had really good chemistry, which was kind of crazy to see. What else happened today? So Vernon sets up a meeting with an agent for Anita, and she's skeptical of it, but he wants her to go back on the road, or at least perform again under the name Anita Williams, her maiden name, and bring her daughters up for like a little articulate revival. She is skeptical, but she has told Vernon she will think about it. But yeah, she doesn't like the agent, and she's like, you're just after money, and I'm not willing to do that, and I gave that up for the family that I have now, the end. Another thing that happened was Chelsea is in the locker room talking to her niece, her cousin, her first cousin once removed, Samantha. And Samantha's kind of going on about like, what can I do? Like, how can I help? And what she's really doing is hiding out from Kat because Kat wants a final decision on her bringing on Danny as the chief marketing officer. So they kind of have it out and they're just like, you have to do this. You have to figure this out and you have to bring on your mom now. Samantha brings up Nepo babies and how Kim Kardashian helped her sisters and all these other people. So why would you not use your mom to help build your brand? I also loved whenever Kat's like, I have a lunch date, and Samantha wanted to know who it was. She said it was Tomas, and they had like a little kiki girly moment about hot guys. And Chelsea's like, wait, I am still going through turmoil here, and you guys get me talking about this while I'm making this decision. Anyway, that brings us to Danny. And Chelsea went to Danny and said, we want to bring you on as our chief marketing officer. And Danny had to break her heart and say, no, I don't want to do that because I have other plans. Now, Chelsea doesn't know what those plans are, but I think it is the agency that Danny and Pamela are going to create, which Curtis Dupree sounds better. I like it in alphabetical order. But yeah, I think that is why she is saying no. And perhaps she doesn't want her daughter to feel like she has to bring her on or her mom is going to melt down. There was also a scene with Danny and Andre, but I refuse to spend any more time on them because I want them to be caught. I don't want them to have sex anymore, and I think it's disgusting, and you all know how I feel about that. The end. So, on that note, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you back here for my recap on Beyond the Gates, episode 41, Hump Day, tomorrow.